Picture this, you're in the middle of a normal evening and suddenly the power goes out. Maybe you think it's a local outage, but hours turn to days and you realize the truth. The electrical grid globally has collapsed. No lights, no machines, no internet. What happens next? This is a story about humanity's descent into darkness, fear and chaos. The first hours are confusion. Phones die quickly without charging and power banks drain. People flood social media for updates, but without power, the networks collapse. Panic sets in as people realize this isn't just their street, their city, or even their country, it's everywhere. In the absence of information, speculation takes over. Is it a cyber attack, start of a World War III, a solar flare, or something even worse? Whatever the cause, society is woefully unprepared. Emergency services are overwhelmed. Without power, water stops flowing, hospitals struggle to keep equipment running, and grocery shelves are emptied within hours. The fragile veneer of order quickly begins to crack. By day 3, the silence becomes suffocating. No news updates, no texts, no calls. Social connections dissolve into isolation. People are cut off from loved ones. Trust in the government erodes as no answers come, and in the void left behind, anarchy begins to take hold. Messages carried by hand, written on scraps of paper. And with no unified voice of authority, rumors become the only currency of information. Without reliable information, paranoia spreads like wildfire, and paranoia becomes a fertile ground for violence. Within a week, supply chains collapse entirely. Modern life depends on logistics, food, medicine, fuel. Everything we need is always on the move. Without power, the system grinds to a halt. Communities become survivalist enclaves, and the world as we know is gone. Those who were prepared for such an event thrive at first, but supplies run out and desperation makes enemies of neighbors. Every street becomes a battleground for resources. Even hospitals, the last bastions of hope, become fortresses of despair. Without refrigeration, critical medicines spoil. Patients on life support are left to die as machines fail. And the question on everyone's mind is, how long can we survive this? Months pass, cities are abandoned, too dangerous to inhabit. Those who remain retreat to rural areas or small, tightly knit groups. But even here, trust is scarce. The absence of structure creates a vacuum filled by fear and superstition. Communities devolve into tribalism. Some worship old technology, hoping the power might one day return. Others embrace nihilism, believing this is the end of the world. In the darkest corners of humanity, cults form. They offer explanations for the collapse and someone to blame. Outsiders are viewed as threats and violence becomes ritual. Meanwhile, scavengers become the new nomads, surviving on scraps left behind. Every step is fraught with danger, an ambush, a trap, or worse. Years later, the Earth begins to reclaim what humanity lost. Skyscrapers crumble under the weight of time and neglect. Streets become rivers, forests creep into the suburbs. Few survive to remember the time before the collapse. Those who do hold on to the stories like relics, whispering them to the next generation as fragile reminders of what once was. These stories are fragments of a bygone era, a time when light filled the cities, connections spanned continents, and the hum of technology was the heartbeat of everyday life. The glow of hope flickers faintly in the darkness, a small, wavering light struggling to endure the crushing weight of despair. Yet no matter how brightly it burns, it never seems strong enough to illuminate the path forward. Electricity. Without it, we fell not because we were weak, but because we forgot how to live without it. The question now is, if the lights came off, would we even survive? Let's hope this remains a story. Warning of how fragile our modern world really is. If this video made you think, give it a like, share it, and subscribe for more speculative stories like this. Stay prepared, and remember, the lights aren't guaranteed to stay on forever.